What's up, everybody? Welcome back to How It's Done. So today we are going to be adding some LED tape lights or strip lighting or whatever you want to call it under the little storage cabinets here on each shelf. And in order to do that, basically you're going to be running them right along the surface here. Be cutting a hole here to feed it straight through. And then since there's really no way to hide the wires at this point, we're going to be just poking the wires through on the side, hugging the inside, running it straight up to the top, and then running it along. And we're going to have a transformer at the very top. It's going to power all these. We're going to be adding a switch right here in the wall to turn these on and off so that they're independent of the main light. So the main light switch is actually right here. They actually have 2x6 framing instead of 2x4, which is great. You can get a try it again. You can get a lot more insulation in the wall and get a better insulation factor. But on top of that, these boxes you can actually have back to back without them hitting each other. So we're going to cut in a box here. That switch is going to control the plug that I'm going to add above, which the transformer will be plugged into, and that'll turn the lights on and off. Let's get after it. So you can see here we got the switch pulled out the wall. We've got a 14-2 wire feeding all the way through to the other side. And then we've got another 14-2 that goes up to this plug that we've added up here. So we'll put a plate on that, and then that is going to be powered by the switch that's here. So basically all the neutrals are going to go together, all the grounds are going to go together. This is going to be our switch leg, and the black from this is going to be our hot. Over here, a little bit different, because you can see on the side of this, they've actually got two 14-2s already going into this side instead of making a joint. And then this is going to be their switch leg. So what we're going to have to do here is pull these off and use our clines or pliers or whatever you want to call them to twist these together. And then we'll have one wire coming off of that wire nut that goes to this switch for the power. And then the wire from here that's made up underneath that will feed the power through to the other side. And then all our neutrals and grounds will be made up together over here. The way I typically like to lay out my work is I do everything that I can, especially when I'm working in a room where shutting off the circuit is going to require the light to go off. I'll do everything I can prior to making up the point of power, which is be over here. So we're at that point where I got to shut it off. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off the power, get that all made up, and we'll be back. Alright, so the switch is wired back up. This switch is wired in and power's back on. So now we need to test, make sure that it works right. So what does that mean? It means we take our plug tester, plug it in. See, it's got nothing right now. Flip on the switch. Good. That means it's right. Now, the other test you want to do, since you grab power from the switch, to make sure that you got the right lead, turn that off and see if it's still lit. What do you know? It works. We'll hit the switch again. Good. That works. Alright, so now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to drill the holes right underneath here. Drill one here and then down here at the end. Same thing, right over here. Do that for every shelf. And I'm going to obviously move the fabric out of the way because I don't want to get sawdust on the fabric. So taking pictures of where everything is so I can give you put back exactly where it needs to be when I'm done. So we'll get those holes drilled and we'll be back to show you how to run the wires and tape everything up. Alright, so as you can see, we've got the holes drilled. So now we're going to have to cut these to length. These LED strips actually have marked exactly where you can cut them. So I've gone ahead and measured the length that I need, and all I need to do to cut them is just take a pair of scissors right across this line and they'll be cut. You may be wondering how I got so close with the drill. The trick is use an 18-inch drill bit, and that will allow you to back up far enough from the chuck of your drill that you can basically hug the corner. So go ahead and start getting these cut to the right length, and we'll get them fed through these little holes. Should be pretty snug fit, but it should work. And yeah, we'll be back. Alright, so the tape lights are fed through the middle of each one of these and really went pretty easily. This seems to be about the right size because you can just pull it, it feeds through pretty smooth. At the ends of some of these, you see it's got this prefabbed tail that can be made up. So we're just going to go ahead and cut this tip off with our pliers, and then we'll feed it through the hole over here. But on the ends of some of these, or rather the rest of them, where we cut it, there's no wires made up. So what we're going to do, you can get these little connectors that you can basically, you see here, feed the wires into one side, and you'll pop it loose and just clamp it down into place on the wires. And the other side, well, can't do that with one hand, but basically, when you get it to that point, the other side, this is what you'll end up with. Something like this, that basically just slides right on here. We'll see if I can do this with one hand. Yeah, so it slides right on there so that this gets underneath there like that. And then you just push the back piece in. And there you have it. It's clipped in place. You're good. All right, so we've got all of them tucked up underway in place. Honestly, this went really well. You don't even really see the lights until the top two, at least from my height, 5'10", but yeah, you can kind of barely see this guy underneath here. But they're fed through really well, stuck in place, and now we've got these wires sticking through the sides. What I've gone ahead and done is drilled the holes up here in the front. I know a lot of you in the comments are probably going to ask, why didn't you drill the holes in the back and just feed the wire straight back? Because a lot of these, it's in the middle of the cabinet that it would be going back. And secondly, I don't have a way of really drilling in the back in this. I don't have a right angle drill, so yeah. But it's going to hug the wall pretty well in here, and you're not really even going to notice. So yeah, I'll get the wires run, get this all stapled in place, and we'll be back. I'm going to be using crimp connectors on these. Seems like a better connection and a lot cleaner than wire nuts. So yeah. All right, so the wires are made up. Everything is stapled back in place, tucked away really nice and neat, and this is how it turned out. Not bad. I'm happy with it. So for more videos like this, go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel. And thanks for joining us today on How It's Done.